Live and Happy New Year's, guys. Today is a bit of a different type of thing. Today we are doing the year-end review as we have started doing since last year. Um, a lot to cover in a very short amount of time because some of us are really busy today. Um, so, without further ado, as always, I'm here joined by my esteemed panel of co-hosts. To my right, we have Mike, and down below, we have the goon himself, Christian. It is early morning, so let's just jump right into it with our breakout star of the year. This one was really hard to pick for me, but I had to go with Wheeler Yuta.
Okay.
He his match with Mox made him a fucking star,
hmm I
and
was
I,
I
I
was
there's nothing else better.
I was teetering on Wheeler as well. Wheeler, I was like it was either between him or the guy who I ended up picking. Um, that match with Mox, I went back and watched the last 7 minutes of it that AEW posted on YouTube when the match happened. And my God, that is one of my favorite matches of the year, and like that's the one that's probably gonna get lost in the shuffle of great matches this year. But that was one of my favorite
Oh yeah.
matches of this year. Unbelievable stuff from those two guys. And Yuta had an unbelievable year. He started with the best friends, and then he transitioned into the Blackpool Combat Club, and I mean he even got to go to Japan to do the best of the Super Juniors, and he's been on Strong. He's been everywhere. So the guy's had a great year, and he's absolutely a breakout talent.
All right, Mike, who do you have for your breakout star of the year?
Yeah, I would probably go Wheeler Yuta as well, but I got two honorable mentions. Konosuke Takeshita for obvious reasons because every match he has is just seemingly a banger, and how could I not throw Jamie Hayter in there? I mean, come on,
True,
come on.
true. She had like a stellar year. She definitely improved a lot as well.
hmm
Um, Next up on our docket of
Oh, I
what?
got skipped.
What?
I got skipped.
I thought you said yours already.
No, I
Shit.
said
Okay.
unbelievable. But
It's early, man. Leave me alone.
it is
This
early.
is he has a good point there.
It is early. But no, I went with for my breakout study. I went with Konosuke Takeshita. Um, really because the only reason I didn't go Yuta because already knew how great Yuta was. I was just waiting for him to get that opportunity, and he did. Takeshita was a lot. It was very new to a lot of people this year. A lot of people did not know who Takeshita was. Um, I was, I was familiar with him, but I never really saw any of his matches. And this guy came on the scene in AEW and ripped it up. He came on the Indies. He moved to America. The guy has not had a bad match. The guy is unbelievable. I say this on the show. The guy reminds me so much of Ibushi and Omega in their DDT days, and I can't wait to see him get more opportunities now that he's fully signed with AEW and in America. But the guy is fantastic. He had a breakout year this year, and can't wait to see more of him.
I agree. Following that, we now have pay per view of the year. I have a feeling it might be unanimous, but Forbidden Door for me was just
Yes.
Yep.
really great.
Yep. Forbidden Door. I have the poster right there, but yeah, Forbidden Door was my pay per view of the year. I mean, we've been waiting for a New Japan AEW Super Show since AEW began, and it did not disappoint. And it's really impressive to think about how the show came about and how good the show ended up being, with how marred and how plagued by injuries the show was
Mm-hmm.
going in, because most of the matches were changed. I mean, Punk had to be taken off the card. They didn't have access to Omega. They didn't have Danielson. They didn't have um didn't have Punk. They didn't have Omega. They didn't have Danielson. They didn't. Hiromu ended up not being able to come over. But
Ishii
with
got
how
hurt as well.
Itomi Arishi got hurt, so the amount of the amount of injuries, this could have been a very disappointing show, but it ended up being the best show of the year, and I really enjoyed it as a New Japan fan and as a AEW fan. It's everything I could have asked for. The great moments on the show. I mean, the match that stole the show with Osprey and Orange Cassidy, and the moment with Shibata afterwards. You had the All Atlantic Four Way, which was great. The full way for the IWGP title, which was great. Besides the finish when Adam Cole's injury. Um, the main event with Mox and Tanahashi, even the pre-show matches and stuff. The opener with the six-man tag, Claudio's debut against Zack Sabre Jr. Just great stuff on this show, um, top to bottom, and I can't wait for the second one, because which we all know that's definitely going to happen after the success of this one. But
Yeah.
great stuff here.
Who do you
Yeah, and
who do you got, Mike?
yeah, I got Forbidden Door. I mean, that was just, I thought, hands down the show of the year. Because you look back at every other pay-per-view, and you can nitpick a match or two and go, that match was just okay. It would have been better probably on a Dynamite or on the pre-show. But you literally couldn't say that about Forbidden Door. As soon as that main card started, just every match was just either good, very good, or great. And which is not something that I could say about any other pay-per-view, at least that AEW has put out this year, which that's a testament to just how good that show was.
Yeah.
And of course, we couldn't get through the entire pay-per-view without somebody getting injured, unfortunately, but that was just the aura and the vibes of the show right there. But overall, just fantastic show. And yes, Osprey, Orange Cassidy, just
Yeah,
fantastic.
and think of this when they do the second one, whenever they do Forbidden Door 2, they're gonna have access to Omega. They're gonna have access to Keshta. They're gonna have access to Bryan Danielson and all these new signings and all these guys who were hurt at the time. So if if this show is that good, I can't wait to see what the next one looks like when they
Oh
have all
yeah.
their talent.
Next up, I talked to Mike before we started recording. He doesn't really have a Twitter moment. He wasn't rummaging through Twitter as me and Christian were.
Mhm.
So we're just gonna take the reins on this one for the Twitter moment of the year. I have Stokely's Twitter bio, which
That was a great
was
one.
the his cousin got shot in the Popeyes. Amazing stuff right there.
That was great. And mine would be one that could be forgotten about because it happened literally the first week of the new year. And that was, of all people, Hook being spotted in the strip club with Antonio Brown. So
That started the year. That was on
Yeah.
our first live stream.
Yep. I remember then being like, this is gonna be the Twitter moment of the year. Nothing's gonna top this. But just with the year Antonio Brown has had, um it's him starting it off with Hook in the strip club with my t-shirt money. Um, I mean, holy shit. This was crazy. And
You paid for that lap dance.
yeah, the fact that the best part about this being that it wasn't even a post about Hook. It was a post that a stripper made who was working there, and she took a video of Antonio Brown, and Hook just happened to be there. And people were like, wait a minute, is that Hook? And he was not tagged. It was not about him at all. She didn't even know who that was. That's what made it so much better. But yeah, that was excellent. That was a top quality moment.
I still can't believe that was on our first show of the year too. That we did live. I guess now up is the feud of the year.
Yep.
I have MJF and CM Punk. That sure it has its sour moments now, but it was a stellar feud. Probably some of the best work we'll see from CM Punk if he ever returns to wrestling. Probably some of the best mic work we'll see from MJF for a while until he hits another good feud. But like this was just a perfect feud for 2022.
Yeah, I mean, I also had MJF versus CM Punk. Yeah, with it's hard to give CM Punk his credit after what happened this year, but you can't forget how fucking unbelievable this feud was. The promos, the segments.
Yeah.
I mean, the first show of the year where MJF bloodied up CM Punk and with the dog collar and all that stuff. It was just excellent stuff. And the match being the best match on that show, and the story with Wardlow. and the ring. It's just the whole feud was excellent. It was definitely maybe the best feud in AEW history. So I mean, think of all the feuds that have gone on, but yeah, this was excellent feud, and I wish it got the story. I wish it got the ending that it probably deserved. But for what it's worth, and we had it, and it was great. And I'm
Hmm.
glad they did it. I'm glad they, in hindsight, I'm glad they did it quickly as they did.
Yeah. Mike?
No, this was hands down feud of the year. I mean, just look back to their initial promo segment that went like 18 minutes. Fast forward a few weeks, and they have this just fantastic match on Dynamite where there's a pinfall after like 12 minutes, and then they go, no, 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 we're restarting the match, and then they go like another 15, and just everybody was hanging on every second, every pinfall, and just the culmination up to Wardlow turning on MJF at Revolution was just insane.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just there were so many good moments within that time span. It was just how can you not pick that?
I
Mm-hmm.
agree. Um, Next up is promo of the year. This one was really hard to pick from. I have a feeling it's going to be littered with MJF for us, but I have his
Mm-hmm.
There
pipe.
were
I have his pipe bomb.
there were so many good promo segments this year from AEW. Like there were obviously like we have the people who can talk, but there were a couple that just stood out as you're watching that made you go,
Yeah.
"Oh shit."
Mm-hmm.
But MJF's pipe bomb, or his nuke drop, as the internet now calls it, was just raw and amazing. Yeah, like you definitely felt his emotions in it, and be it sure if it was half scripted, half not scripted. Well,
It was scripted. It
scripted.
was a work shoot.
Well, yeah, yeah. Like in the sense of which that Tony Khan told him, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. It was still really, really great. And that ending of just telling the producer, don't count me down, then just to yelling at Tony Khan, fire me, you fucking mark, and then just like the world, like the entire pro wrestling world went silence because we were like, what did we just see? Then people start going like, that was 2022's pipe bomb, a whole like 11 years later.
Yeah. I mean, this that promo was unbelievable. I mean, coming at it. I mean, coming into that show, that was the first Kia Forum show. That was the first show to build to Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm.
That happening was unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what to say. When I after I saw it, like that was one of the greatest promos I've ever seen, and just excellent stuff from MJF. Obviously, the "you fucking mark" was so shocking. He had the crowd hanging on the pot. He turned the crowd with them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, man. Uh, shit, that was a great promo. But as you said, it's littered. This award is littered with MJF, and my promo of the year was the promo exchange he had with William Regal. My promo of the year was the promo segment between William Regal and MJF, which is probably my favorite, maybe my favorite promo segment in the history of the company. But unbelievable stuff. With MJF and CM Punk, MJF and William Regal here. The story, the real life aspect of it, the the emotion that MJF showed, the how MJF turned the crowd against Regal, and then Regal got him right back in short order. Just two masters of their craft going to
Mm-hmm.
battle on the microphone. Just great stuff.
Mike.
All right, well obviously it was the MJF nuke, but one promo that I really, really loved was the second Dynamite of the year when Moxley came back from rehab. That
Yes,
moment, yeah, that one hit differently.
That was great stuff.
I can agree with that one.
And also a couple honorable mentions. Punk versus Eddie Kingston was Jesus. That was
Was
great.
that this year?
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong here, but another honorable mention: Ricky when he took the mic after MJF
No,
got
that
him
was last year,
after a match.
Okay. So
November.
That was okay. So
'Cause
never
I
mind.
was remembering because I think that's what I gave it. I think that's what I gave promo of the year last year.
Okay, my bad.
yeah,
My bad.
yeah.
All right. So other honorable mention: when Ricky Starks took the mic after MJF came out after a match, and basically,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that was just we knew Ricky was a good promo, but we didn't know he had that in him in that
Yeah.
moment, and it
Yeah.
was just fantastic.
Next up on the docket is Booker of the Year. This one I really, since I just stayed focused on AEW this year. I didn't venture off into GCW like I did last year, because I remember last year I gave Brett Lauderdale the Booker of the Year, but this year I'm giving it to Tony Khan. He had stepped up. AEW had a very rough year this year, like an insanely rough year, but he held forward and he did exactly what he had to do, and he kept strong. Sure, he made a lot of poor booking decisions that we can all agree on, but he definitely showed what he's more capable of under pressure. So Tony Khan
Yep.
gets Booker of the Year for me.
Yeah, I gave it to Tony Khan as well. It was a rough year. It was not the best year booking wise, but I think it's probably because like when people talk about stuff like this, you kind of forget the early moments of the year. But the early AEW in 2022 was booked unbelievably well. Obviously this has helped by having probably the best feud of the year with MJF and CM Punk, the Wardlow stuff, Forbidden Door, everything all the way up till All Out was pretty good. Um, After All Out, after the shenanigans that happened there, it kind of got a little bumpy because you had to rely more on uh like the Ring of Honor stuff and all that stuff. But knowing what we know now, like where Tony was even dealing with his own type of situation with his mom and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, and the past month of AEW has been a string of excellent shows. It finally feels like they're out of that rut. It finally feels like they're able to focus on what made them great again. And we've had nothing but great AEW shows coming out of Full Gear.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. And the only reason, like the reason I went with Tony Khan is because, uh, like the only person I could think of that really could have been giving this award is Triple H, but Triple H didn't have a full year. Triple H did not have a full year. Number one. Number
Oh yeah.
two, Triple H's booking in the beginning was very very good, but it has regressed. Raw has kind of returned to form of being not good at all. So, instead of Triple H getting better as it's gone along, it's kind of like died down a little bit. The honeymoon period is very much over, and Tony, he has been improving, but that start of the year really seals the deal for Tony Khan for me.
I agree. Mike.
Well, I'm obviously going to be biased here because like I only really watch AEW, and the only things that I didn't watch that were 100% AEW were obviously Forbidden Door and the G1 semis in the final. But yeah, like Christian said, like the way he was able to adjust with what happened after All Out and what he was going through personally. And obviously, like the shows dipped there for like a 2, 3 week span just because of how much stuff he had to change on the fly. But what followed that couple week span was just a string of like 6 to 7 dynamites that were just they weren't excellent, but they were very good dynamites considering the position that they were in. And obviously, like following that 6 to 7 week span, it dipped a little bit because it's like you can't keep a string of shows that good going that long. But after that dip, it went right back up again. And
Yeah.
like I said, considering like all the crap that happened, all the storylines that needed to be changed, like immediately following All Out, it's just it's pretty incredible to see just how good the shows have been on a consistent basis.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have WTF moment of the year.
I think we all know what this one is.
Well, a lot of us have. Christian has something else other than me, but I have the all-out media scrum. That was the biggest WTF moment of the year because that was happening live as me, Christian, and Gary were doing our post show. So all hell was breaking
And I was
loose.
freaking working.
All hell was breaking loose as we were just trying to enjoy the amazing ending of that pay-per-view. We're like, okay, yeah. Then Christian goes, huh. Punk's saying a lot of things on this media scrum right now.
That was a night.
I'm still
Yeah.
so mad that I was not able to watch that for literally weeks after.
Yeah, you missed the craziest week in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I did.
To be honest,
of course.
you're probably good because that was a shit show.
It was a shit show, but it was it was cool to watch as a fan because
Yeah,
you're
it's true. Yeah.
whoa, what is this? Is this a work? Is this a shoot? What's going on? But yeah, it's the all media scrum for me though. Christian?
For me, it couldn't be nothing else but the craziest story in wrestling history. That being Vince leaving the WWE finally, after how many years? But Vince being forced out of his own company, him leaving, and the and Triple H being named creative, head of creative. Stephanie and Nick Khan become the co-CEOs, and all the Vince allegations and stuff like that. This was unreal. This changed the course of WWE history. And wrestling history in the business. This is Vince McMahon. This is the god of pro wrestling, as people, the creator of pro wrestling, people say. But I mean, God, this came out of fucking nowhere. It's not how I expected it to go. I thought this guy would die in his chair in gorilla position. I swear to God, I thought that would happen. And I don't think he would. I didn't think he would ever retire, but he was forced out. Now he might be making a comeback, which God, I hope not. But
I don't think he's allowed to come back.
But this was nuts, and I'll never forget as it was happening, and just being lost, being like, how did this happen? Like what? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. And but that was this year in pro wrestling. Some of the lesser stories this year could have, if it was in any other year, would have been the craziest story. I mean, I don't know what Mike has for his what the fuck moment of the year, but this is a year that had Stone Cold return to the ring in the main event of WrestleMania, and that's not even in the top 5 of craziest stories this year. That's how nuts this year was.
Yeah.
So, just unbelievable stuff this year. But Vince retiring was a shock.
Mike, what do you have for your WTF moment of the year?
I think by default it has to be Vince retiring because that was before all of the NDAs and everything came out, which made it even more shocking. Like, if the NDAs or all of them would have come out first and then he retired, then we would have been like, okay, this is not as shocking, but the timing of it made it extremely shocking. As much as I would love to put Brawl out first, I mean, literally any other year within the last 10 years, that would have hands down probably been one of the biggest stories in wrestling. But, I mean, Vince retiring, literally none of us saw that coming.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that we saw Punk flipping the hell out either, but he has a history. He has a history as a hothead. So yeah.
The only what's it called?
Oh, I would like to give an honorable mention as well.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was about to do too. Yeah.
I think this is a very close number 3. Cody Rhodes leaving
Rhodes,
AEW.
That's what I was about to mention.
Yep.
That's what I was about to mention. The honorable mentions. I think just going about this year, I'd say Cody going back to WWE and having the run he did, which was unbelievable. before he got hurt, and the whole entrance at WrestleMania, it was fucking great. And but he started the year with the great ladder match with Sammy Guevara. But I'll just rattle them off here. But Cody returning to WWE, the obviously, as we just mentioned, Stone Cold coming out of retirement to wrestle Kevin Owens in the main event of WrestleMania. Um, what just happened with Mandy Rose, Sasha Banks going to Wrestle Kingdom, which is gonna bleed into the new year. Um, uh, I, coinciding with Sasha Banks walking out with Naomi. That was crazy. Um, trying to remember. I feel like every month had something that was nuts. William Regal starting the year in
And leaving.
WWE, doing the most in AEW, and then leaving and ending the year back in WWE. We just had one last night with Dragon Lee being signed by the WWE after the Triple Mania show. Um, there was the whole um, people don't remember this as much, but the whole campaign that turned Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello against the wrestling masses, um, just that stuff, that drama, um, the altercations backstage at AEW and stuff like that,
Mm.
the Hangman and Punk stuff, just what the fuck happened this year? I mean,
What up?
Christ Almighty. Even in other companies too, like New Japan and stuff like that, where the death of Antonio Inoki, um, the largest G1 in history. Um, you also had the return of Kenny Omega in New Japan, WWE as well, with what we mentioned with Sasha and Vince and Mandy and Dragon Lee and um Triple H getting control them before Stephanie getting control of the company, her being forced out and talk shit upon by people within the company. Just unbelievable stuff this year.
Yeah. I pretty much, at this point, you could just say the WTF moment was all of pro wrestling in 2022.
Can I make a
Um,
bold prediction here?
Go right ahead.
2023, we will look back at the end of 2023, the biggest news story, and we will compare it to this year, and it will not break the top 5 if you like combine both years. That's my bold prediction.
Oh, it absolutely will not.
But
Next
then
up,
again, this is pro wrestling. Something
yeah.
crazy is bound to happen.
Mhm.
Next up, we have most improved. I have Ty Mello for this. I think personally she has done a lot of good work. She definitely has heavily improved from where she was just like a year ago.
I think I gave it to her last year, to be honest, too.
Well,
So that's
I think she had her moments
yeah.
this year, but I think she heavily improved
I
more
think
this year.
I think what's it called? I think that's a testament to how she's improving though. Um if I mean, as we recognize her um in both years, that's a great thing that she's not regressing. So
Yeah. Who do you got, Christian?
for me, I have the acclaimed as my most improved. Um basically this is mostly not entertainment wise, but in ring wise. Um, but Max and Anthony, they had a tremendous year. They got it so over with the Scissor Me Daddy ass stuff. One of the best things about AEW this year, best things about pro wrestling this
Yeah.
year. Um, they were fantastic. The match they stole the show at All Out with the Swerve in Our Glory in a unbelievable match. They had another great match at Arthur Ashe Stadium where they won the titles. But Max and Anthony with this whole new gimmick where they added Billy Gunn to their act with the Scissor Me Daddy ass stuff and just how they improved their characters and their gimmick from how great it already was. Um, but yeah, I just go with the acclaimed here for me because they just were stands out this year and they need to be recognized.
Mike?
I'm gonna go with our favorite Miss Jamie Hayter. because this is just for me personally. I had no idea who this woman was at the beginning of last year. And when did she make her debut again?
She made her debut
It
on the
was the
first.
tail.
It was the first episode of Rampage ever.
Okay, so tail end of last year, basically.
Hmm.
And even the first couple months, like there was nothing about her that stood out just because she hadn't gotten that full chance yet. But I mean, if you look at the year she's having, not only did she get more over than any woman in the women's division in AEW, but she single-handedly had played a part in having arguably two of the best three women's matches of the year for
Hmm.
AEW, which I don't think is an exaggeration at all.
Hmm.
And it's just like this woman went from pretty much unknown to all of a sudden she is arguably the best worker in the women's division.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
I agree.
Yep.
Next up, we have best new gimmick. Me and Christian went the same here, but I'm just putting Sami Zayn as a whole because he had a lot of amazing gimmicks this year. He went
Yeah.
from the IC gimmick. That was like this year as well, right? That was 2022.
Yes, the Jackass stuff was this year. That was WrestleMania.
God, like it was just insane. And then now he's the honorary Oos.
Yeah, so I guess me and Zach, I had the honorary use Sami Zayn, mostly just the honorary use character that Sami Zayn has been doing. Sami Zayn has been a joy to watch on WWE. He's the probably the best part about the product right now, with the bloodline. He has not done nothing but enhance the bloodline. And this is gonna go down in history as one of the best runs for all these guys' careers who is involved with the group. But hell, I mean, Sami Zayn, he's just been on another level. He is so entertaining. All his segments with Roman and the Usos, how he gets the Usos and Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman and Roman to corpse and laugh and break character. Where the one segment where they had to change the entire segment because Roman, Jimmy, and Jay could not stop laughing, so they had to change the entire segment to make it more of a comedic segment more than a serious segment. Just he has been outstanding as of late, where people have been saying, "Oh, Cody Rhodes should win the title," which I still believe that people have been saying, "Well, if not Cody, maybe Sami Zayn should take the titles off of Roman." But
That
th-
is, there's a snowball's chance in
that
hell that
that
he takes the
that
titles over Roman.
oh yeah, that's true. But the fact that people even considered that and floated that, and just is a testament to how great Sammy has been this year, and what a great. I'm so finally. I'm so happy that Sammy's finally getting his big. People are finally realizing how great he is, and
Yeah.
Sami Zayn, man, just excellent stuff this year.
Uh, Mike.
I went a little bit of a different direction with this, and you guys will see why and how in a second. I legitimately made a top five here.
Oh, go right ahead.
So the first best new gimmick, number five, Jake Hager. I like this hat.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number four, the crowd chanting Ocho every
That
time
was
there's a
good.
count to something.
Yep.
Number three, Mark Henry getting interrupted on Rampage by a combination of Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, which has somehow not lost its luster and gotten funnier. Number two, Scissor Me Daddy Ass.
Hmm.
That's up there. And number one, William Regal flirting with Excalibur.
To be honest, yeah, those were that. Yeah, yeah, that's some of the best gimmicks out there. I realize that. Yeah, we don't have to limit gimmicks to just people's characters. We can limit to fan
Hmm.
interactions and shit like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, those
Uh,
were five that stood out to
I
me. So
I agree. I agree. Um, next up, faction of the year. I put the Bloodline. Even though I don't follow WWE as closely, but I still keep up to date on Twitter and some of the highlights on YouTube. But the Bloodline definitely deserves faction of the year. They've been doing amazing work. I thought this would have lost its luster like maybe like a few months in because it's Roman and Roman sometimes has the personality of a dying cat, but I digress. But this has been amazing. I think Sami Zayn, adding him into there has helped the bloodline legit like excel further.
hmm I was tied here between the Bloodline and who I'll talk about next. But the Bloodline, for me, it's basically a tie. But like, the Bloodline was excellent this year. In the beginning, they kind of before Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn were in the group, it kind of stalling out a little bit. But once they added Sami and Solo, they've just been all gas, no brakes. I mean, just excellent stuff from Roman and his title reign and the Usos as well. Sami Zayn we just mentioned, but Solo Sikoa, him being added off of NXT, and he's just been a joy to watch as well. Him grow on NXT and then up to the main roster, but just the bloodline has been excellent, and you can't really um say otherwise. And I also I had three, to be honest. I was stuck between three. It was the Bloodline, and then the Blackpool Combat Club, which had a great year. Just mostly more in the beginning of the year with the formation with Regal showing up at Revolution, and forming the club with Danielson and Mox, and then the Yuta stuff, where they added Yuta to the group, and then at Forbidden Door ended up adding Claudio to the group and having that big ass feud with the Jericho Appreciation Society. I thought they were fantastic this year. But yeah, so Blackpool Combat Club is who I also went with as well. And the other honorable mention, who I think is probably still tied with the other ones because they were great, was the United Empire in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Um, Will Ospreay, Great O'Khan, Aaron Hanare, Jeff Cobb, Aussie Open, Gideon Gray, Francesco Akira, TJP. These men had a unbelievable year. They have been second to none, the best faction in New Japan right now. They are fantastic. The in ring work, how they format themselves as a faction. They're fucking great. So yeah,
Oh,
for me it's between the Bloodline, the Blackpool Combat Club, and the United Empire.
shit, you just reminded me something about Twitter moment. Now I could have put the Great O'Khan.
Great
Uh,
O'Khan's Vegas escapades. That was great.
that could have been Twitter moment of the year too. But yeah,
That's true.
Mike, who do you got for faction of the year?
I got Blackpool Combat Club as well because if you take a look at all the things that all of those guys did individually, Mox coming back from rehab, the match with Bryan Danielson, the year he ended up having towards the latter part of the year, with him literally canceling his vacation to come back and hold the torch for AEW after
Yeah.
all the shit that went down. You had Danielson just having, again, great match after great match to start the year on New Year's Smash with Hangman, and all the crap. His matches with Jericho too were very good, and I'm missing a lot here. But just to move on to Claudio, look at his first month alone. He debuts to a monster pop and has a great match with Zack Sabre Jr. Wins the Ring of Honor title, is a participant in the Blood and Guts match, in which was a great match as a whole for the entire faction. And then you have Wheeler Yuta, who had the great match with Moxley, had the great matches with Daniel Garcia for the ROH Pure title, and honestly, adding William Regal to that group just added a whole new level. And my favorite moment in particular within the Blackpool Combat Club, backstage after the show, when they're all holding up the titles, leaning back,
Oh
going,
yeah,
Yeah.
a photo that can sadly never be
honestly, that
redone.
might be my Twitter moment of the year right there.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, I think now following that we have tag teams. I went with Dem Boys, the Briscoes. They have had a stellar year with their matches with FTR. Even like I think they even can fall under the category of most improved as well because they have once again like with the little matches that I have seen of them, every match gets better and better and better and better with them. and the fact in which that they want to be on TV so badly definitely proves that they want to do better. They want to be the best tag team.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it to the Briscoes because they deserve it, and they are probably one of my favorite tag teams going so far.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, the out of focus camera makes a return.
oh, dude. Uh-oh. But anyway, my pick for the tag team of the year, Zach just mentioned them, but they're the other half of one of the best feuds of the year, and one of the best match series of all time. FTR. Nobody, nobody in the pro wrestling world has had a better year than FTR. I mean, I don't know where to start with them. The 3 matches with the Briscoes were 3 of the best matches of the year, 3 of the best tag team matches probably ever. Um, Also, them finally being able to go to Japan. Um, they won the IWGP Heavyweight titles, tag titles at Forbidden Door. They defended their AAA tag championships all in Mexico. They won the Ring of Honor tag championships. They challenged for the AEW tag titles, but nobody has had a better year than Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler as a tag team in FTR, and especially with Dax too as a singles. The singles matches that Dax had were excellent. The ones with Osprey, Adam Cole, um, Brian Danielson. Um, who am I missing? But I mean, he had so many great matches throughout the year. Dax Harwood did, and I mean, people are always saying that Dax is their personal wrestler of the year, which I can't deny for at all. But yeah, FTR man, excellent year for these guys. Stand out. This is a career year for this team.
If I can ask a question, Mike, what is your camera trying to focus on?
I don't know. I just don't know. Is it going to impact if I turn it off real quick? Is that going to
No,
impact anything?
no.
All right, so here we go.
It just flipped.
Hey,
It just did a quick flip
I saw that.
of
I
everything,
saw
so it
that.
doesn't really matter.
This is a good webcam. It goes out of
Oh yeah,
focus
it's
sometimes
it's
for no
probably the best
freaking reason.
webcam I've seen on a computer. But
Uh,
yeah. So who's your tag team of the year?
It for me, it is hands down FTR with all the matches that Christian just mentioned for both them as a tag team and Dax individually. And Cash had some decent, good singles matches too.
Yeah.
And holy crap, that trilogy with the Briscoes just did not think tag team wrestling could be that good. And yeah, just 2 of those 3 matches, spoiler alert, are in my top 3 for the year. So yeah, it's just incredible. Just friggin' incredible. Those 2 are just so good. And then, like, I think 2 matches, or a match you didn't mention, the one with the Ass Boys was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
The one with the acclaimed one was excellent also, and just
The Bucks.
the
They had Bucks Part 2 this year, which that match was one of the best matches in Dynamite history, and think of that what that covers. So, I mean,
yes,
just great stuff, man.
Following that, we now have the female wrestler of the year. I have a feeling it's going to be unanimous. It's going to be Jamie Hayter
Yep.
for everyone.
Yep.
I don't think we have to harp on it too much, but Jamie Hayter, she's a mainstay here on the injection. She definitely has done amazing work this year,
Yep.
especially winning
I
the title.
I had Jamie Hayter. The only person I thought about giving it to besides Jamie was Bianca Belair.
Oh yeah,
Bianca in the
fair.
ring has been unbelievable. The match she had with Becky at WrestleMania, the triple threat she had with Becky and Asuka at Hell in a Cell, the match she had with Becky again at SummerSlam was excellent. But Bianca's been on a tear in the ring, and she's been great. But I obviously, as it's unanimous here, I gave it to Jamie Hayter, um, because that's the thing about Bianca. I know how great Bianca is, and I know how great Jamie is. But Jamie, this was finally her time that she was able to show it, and I've been singing Jamie's praises ever since she was brought in. But I'm glad this was the year she finally got to break out, and she finally got the opportunity to show what she's capable of. I mean, in short order, she's had some of the best women's matches this company's ever seen with Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida. She had a great match. She's had great tag matches, teaming with Britt Baker. There was the Fatal 4-Way at All Out, but her winning the title was an excellent moment. I met her. Me and Mike met her this year. She's an unbelievably nice person. She got so over organically and naturally. No, there she. It's just the crowd just recognized what we all saw, how great she was, and wanted to ended up cheering for her. So yeah, Jamie Hayter, great stuff, and I can't wait to see next year and how her title reign pans out.
Mike, if you want to say
It's
any more?
no, it's Jamie Hayter. I
All
mean,
right.
what how? Just if you pick against her, shame on you.
Following that, we now have male wrestler of the year. I, from watching the entirety of the G1 this year, I'm giving it to Will Ospreay. He definitely deserves it. Like it's also gonna bleed into my match of the year. Will Ospreay, fantastic wrestler, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Now, I blame Christian for leading me into the New Japan
You gotta know.
halls, but
You
it's.
gotta get cultured.
But yeah, I just love Will Ospreay, especially his match with Orange Cassidy was great, and everything he did this year was just amazing. So I give it
Yep.
to Will Ospreay.
Um, I as well have William Osprey. I should got this shirt, but Osprey. I mean, what do you say? What can you say about Will Osprey and his 2022? This guy, there is nobody better in the ring right now than Will Ospreay. There was nobody who had better matches this year than Will Ospreay. With Okada, with Shingo, with Orange Cassidy, with Dax Harwood, with Ricky Knight Jr. and Michael Oku in Rev Pro. It, who else? I mean, who else? I mean, he's about to wrestle Kenny Omega. Um, he's wrestled Ishii. He's wrestled. Uh, I mean, he's wrestled Zack Sabre. He had a great match with Zack Sabre Jr. In the New Japan Cup. David Finlay, Juice Robinson. Just go down the list of guys he has worked with. I mean, he had the triple threat match. Triple threat. I mean, he had the fatal 4-way match with Mox, Tanahashi, and Juice. They had the 6-man tag against the Elite for the trios title tournament. Just these guys, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, Osprey. I don't know what to say. The guy is a phenom in the ring. He constantly looks better, and it doesn't make sense. Will Ospreay at his worst is definitely one of the top 5 wrestlers of the year. Will Ospreay at his best, he's the greatest, one of the greatest you'll ever see. And the run that he had in the summer, where this guy was in Japan, in England, in America, Japan, England, England, America, England, Japan, Japan, England. It's just he was all over the place having 5-star matches, and he's gonna continue to do that in 2023 with Kenny Omega. But yeah, Osprey. I don't know what to say.
Mike.
I'm gonna, as you guys know, I've watched primarily AEW, but I'll hop on the bandwagon on this one just because of everything that you guys have just said and everything that I've heard about just how many insanely great matches that he's had over the year. But I do want to give an honorable mention to Jon Moxley just because of all the stuff that I mentioned earlier, like him coming back, the matches with Danielson and all that. Yeah, great
Yeah,
promos, and just he carried the torch when he should have been on vacation, so he gets major bonus
most
points for that.
most reliable guy Tony Khan has, and he
Yes.
signed for until 2027. So this guy is gonna bleed AEW. But uh, going off Mike's honorable mentions, the only one I do want to recognize some people who had a great year because John Moxley would be one of them. Sami Zayn, as we mentioned earlier, Cody Ro-
MJF.
Cody Rhodes, MJF, as well Kenny Omega returning. Um, Also, I would like to give an honorable mention to Dax Harwood, which we made mention of his singles run, not just FTR, just Dax Harwood's singles run was unbelievable this year. Walter or Gunther, he has. Thank God Vince is gone, so he was able to be booked correctly and had probably the best, if not the second best match of the year for WWE, which Walter and Sheamus at Clash of the Castle. Um, also Kazuchika Okada. He had a great year in the death of Antonio Inoki in the 50th anniversary. Um, uh, I like to give a mention to Ace Austin, Alex Zane. Well, I obviously mentioned Wheeler Yuta earlier. Just Francesco Akira, El Desperado, Carmelo Hayes, JD McDonough in NXT. Just Roxanne Perez for the women on the women's end, but people that had an amazing year this year, and uh, it did a lot. This year did a lot of good for a lot of people.
It
So
did.
it's like even with tag teams as well. Like obviously we said the acclaimed Aussie Open had a breakout year. Aussie Open as well. Briscoes, a top flight, great stuff.
Now it's time for the main event.
Main event.
The main award that we give for the year, match of the year. I gave it to Osprey and Okada from the G1. That ending of Osprey hitting every move that has put away Okada. He was about to hit the one wing angel, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't get it done. That was just amazing. Like that sequence of that finish was just the chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yep. I see. It's kind of like a tie for me because I still don't know what to pick between Osprey and Okada and the Briscoes and FTR. They're basically a tie for me. I like these matches both the same. The only reason I didn't go with Osprey and Okada is because Osprey didn't win, and I think if
That's
Osprey
fair.
won, it would have made the match a lot more meaningful. But here's the thing: it's still tied for me at number one. And Osprey and Okada was unreal. And people forget that was not the first match they had all year. Another 5-star match at Wrestle Kingdom to start the year, and it just was even better. But this with the drama of it being the G1 final, and Osprey looking to be the second foreigner ever to win behind Kenny Omega, and Okada looking to win in the 50th year anniversary of New Japan. The drama was so big in the biggest G1. Just excellent stuff between Osprey and Okada. Definitely my match of the year. Tied with these matches. I can't pick one. I'm kind of cheating, but I can't pick one.
It's the trilogy.
But the trilogy of FTR versus the Briscoes, every single match, number 1, number 2, and number 3 were 5-star classics. Some of the best tag team matches you'll ever see. Excellent stuff between these guys. This is one of the best trilogies in pro wrestling history, and they didn't even have build. It was on Twitter videos. There was no build, and that's how you know. If you go into a match with no build, and the crowd knows both these teams are legit, and they're gonna bring it. I mean, just excellent stuff between Briscoes and FTR.
And to think, even with a dog collar match, that was what, like a few days build. That was like
it was the show was on Saturday. It got announced on Wednesday.
Yeah,
by the Ass Boys.
It was a few days build.
Yeah,
there you go. But just real quick before we get to you, Mike. Another reason why I put Osprey and Okada is the after with the interview, and Osprey's just sitting up against the wall, just crying. Up comes David Finlay, points at his title. I want that. Because come on, man, I just lost.
Are you serious right now, it's not the time, bro.
But on that though, yeah, the matches that we're gonna list off are probably up there for match of the year. Mike, which one do you got?
I was just like Christian. I had such an insanely hard time picking between Osprey and Okada and one of the FTR Briscoes matches, but deciding factor for me was I got so into Osprey Okada with the crowd not being able to cheer, and I was going about just as nuts for any match that I've seen this year, which was a testament to one, how terrific that match was and how fantastic workers both of those two guys are. And I caught on with the storytelling at the end there, with the finishers and the finishing sequence and everything. And as you said, chef's kiss. So that was the deciding factor for me to put that match number one for the year.
Yep.
Now, can you guys take a guess of how I ranked the FTR Briscoes matches?
Dog collar's number 1, I feel.
Yes.
3-1-2.
Exactly. Very good.
Got it.
I'm gonna say right now, I'm not sure if he's gonna be debuting in 2023, but I think the breakout star for next year, bold prediction, is gonna be Nick Wayne.
Maybe,
Ooh.
yeah.
Very bold prediction.
be.
He's
Very
gonna be a
commercial.
breakout star. That's my bold prediction for breakout, and that's the only one I'll give.
Just for reference, I put like as soon as FTR Briscoes 1 happened, I was just like, no, that's match of the year. Nothing's touching it. Absolutely nothing. And then,
And then they did
bam,
it again.
they top it.
And then they tap it again.
We
and then it got topped again. Well, actually, Okada and Ospreay topped it first.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but guys,
but Jesus, man.
we all hope you have an amazing new year. This is being released on New Year's Eve. Thank you for joining us on the wild ride of another crazy year within pro wrestling, joining us for another year of the Pro Wrestling Injection. Our 1-year anniversary of live shows starts, I think, the first year of Dynamite. The first new year of Dynamite is our year of doing live streams. And as you see, it has advanced a lot throughout the years. We do appreciate you guys for sticking with us. As always, you can stay tuned to the Sports Hit List Facebook page for all of our updates, and you can follow us on our YouTube channel, where this will be posted alongside on the Facebook page. We appreciate you all for watching, and we'll catch you all next time. Goodbye. Let me do the transition.